From my perspective, I think you can do a lot of social media marketing and build a lot of awareness within the developer community, and even other people that are maybe not operating or working as open source developers, but they are interested in technology, right? They read blog posts on Medium, for example. So one of the takeaways was, can we come up with a set of topics that we want to have the development team write blog posts on and come up with this content early on, right? And have a roadmap for it so that the development team can plan for getting that work done, as a single example. Another example is trade shows. Can we have Greg or Mike or persons like Lawrence, Ed, go up there at trade shows and be presenters, right? And talk about the RChain technology, talk about what it is we're doing, what does correct by construction mean, right? And come up with a series of topics and have all the collateral ready. So one of the things we thought would be important is to have a repository of documents and collateral for this purpose. So if we get a call at the last minute, we've got a topic available, we've got collateral ready to go, we can respond to that request to speak. So that was another topic that we kind of talked about, is having this repository of marketing collateral ready to go so that if anybody needs to use it or they want to do a presentation, they have some approved collateral. And then of course there's contributions that can come in from the community to that repository as well. Public YouTube channel, that's been very successful. We've got lots, this video will go on that YouTube channel. We have Twitter, all big ones, Twitter, Reddit, Slack, we've got our Discord channel. You gotta come up here because he won't be able to hear you at all. Just come up here and take this mic from me, Lawrence.
Okay, so there's really, from a marketing perspective and from growing there are two specific things that we're trying to do. For co-op, there's demand gen, right? How do we get people to want to use the product? We're not really selling anything, we give it away. We want everything taken. For holdings, it's demand and lead gen. So demand is for people to want to talk to us for education, for development, and leads are the actual sales. So within those, the audiences that we're trying to attract are, and remind me if I forget, so it's the people who have, the developers who have specific interest and want to contribute and build things and extend the platform and be part of the effort. Then there are developers who will just take it and say, oh wow, this is really cool, we really want to use this, and go off and do their own thing, and they'll surface from time to time. But we need collateral to delight and excite them, code and get and presentations, places that we go into place. And the third audience is really the people that we want to attract, who are going to say, okay, we want to go and see how we can build something. And whether those entrepreneurs or startups, you know, that we've been talking to and are excited in becoming part of us, building identity solutions on top of RChain or wallets or anything else. There's that. And then there's the enterprise that's looking to say, hey, and this is what I talked about earlier, they've got some FOMO, they want to build something because they want to get a step ahead because they're afraid that something on blockchain, specifically with something as great as a platform as RChain, is going to disrupt or disintermediate them. So that's kind of the way that we're looking at it.
Yeah, I think with respects to some of the trade shows and conferences, one of the takeaways is yes, of course, there's DevCon 3 and there's developer conferences, but what also gets interesting is if we go to other horizontals. So RChain can start having a presence at financial, financial type trade shows where there is no blockchain representation at all, right? So when these people don't know about, I mean, they've heard about blockchain, but it's not in front of them, right? So you show up at the trade show and we're the only blockchain presence there. That's huge because we are showing up, right, and participating, and maybe having a cryptocurrency and blockchain 101 session for them where they can come and learn about the technology and get educated on how the tech works.
And what I'm doing next month in Palo Alto on the 6th is talking to the insurance industry about exactly that. So very specifically, what does the next 18 months look like? Because they're not interested in what can I get in 2 years, in 3 years. What does an 18-month roadmap look like for them? What are the pain problems that we can start taking away and solving for them?
So what about, so there are a couple of different threads that I think a lot about when I think about go-to-market. And one of them is just being opportunistic. So let me give an example. Right now, Peter Harris met me at the Consensus 2017 Shindig in New York, and he started speaking to me about Resonate. And so I spent some time with him in Berlin. I interviewed him. I got a sense of how serious he was. I saw that he was surrounded by good partners like the big RChain DB folks and the Ujo Music folks and things like that. So I could see he was serious. He was a real player, and he really wanted to get involved. The more I give energy to Peter, the more he's uncovering opportunities for us. Right. So right. Let me just finish. So his he was the one that got us the contact in the inn at Platform Co-op, and now the really big opportunity is that he is very close with Imogen Heap. And Imogen Heap is a known quantity in the musical world. She's been doing blockchain stuff for quite some time, and she has a really creative and interesting idea about how to do identity. And I think that in terms of go-to-market, there's got to be this place for following our nose. This, Peter was just some random guy I met in New York, and we got to be able to follow our nose on these kinds of things.
You're absolutely right.
I'm going to disagree with you that was serendipity. It was you going to an appropriate conference and you with the rubric of the kind of person you wanted to listen to. And following our nose is a great metaphor, but it has to have the discipline that you used when you picked that conference and you chose who to talk to. And that is it's that discipline we're trying to talk to.
But I think you two are agreeing. Okay. Yeah. Yes. And we have to cast a wide net, and then follow these things up. So we've got tools behind us to capture and gather this, and then put that analysis behind it and said, did I hear something that makes sense in a blockchain world? Can we follow it up? Can we capture it? And we expand the team. I'll take handoffs from you, and other people will pick it. And we definitely need to do that. Building a network effect in building any business or our technology is key to what we're doing. So right. I'm with you.
Right. So the one thing that I'm trying to point to when I talk about follow our nose, if I had turned it into an analysis grid and put this against a bunch of other different music sharing offerings and done all that, that would not have panned out. What's panning out is I had a strong sense this is a real player, and I'm going to follow up on this one, not having done an exhaustive characterization of all the other music sharing offerings. This one is going to bear fruit, and that's my intuition telling me that.
Okay, so I agree and disagree at the same time. I can be in both states, because this is like the discussions we've been having at dinner. Your intuition, to Roland's point, is an algorithm that you've built over 25 or 30 years that's innate to you. And all of us need to adopt that same thing. So I hear what you're saying. Your analysis, given somebody else who came off the street who doesn't know blockchain or the music industry, might have gone, I don't get it. You do it because you're an expert in blockchain. You know how to look at these companies. So I'm not disagreeing with the philosophy behind it. We've got to get out there. The more touch points we have, the better. So speaking at conferences, writing blog posts, now I'm on my soapbox, 300-word blog posts. Not asking for long form because nobody wants it, but everybody in here can write. Don't look away. 300 words. You are that good. Think of it as commenting your code. We can refine it, but you can all write 300 words once a month. can you pan the camera around and have everybody raise their hand and say, I will write 300 words, because that will get us so many touch points and so much buzz with our audience, people that we want, developers and the rest. I'm going to hand it back to you because she's giving me the hook.
No. So what I was actually going to say is the folks in this room, really, you guys are on the cutting edge of the next generation blockchain technology. It's a pretty big deal, I think, right? And so in the space, all of you will become pretty important and authority figures and very knowledgeable in this space. And so share that knowledge, right? Blog posts are an excellent way to spread the word and provide the technical, fodder that developers love to engage with specifically. And, talking a little bit about the last topic with respects to trade shows, and Greg's following his nose versus showing up at the trade shows, I think there's an opportunity for both the left and the right brain to play a role here, right? We use some analysis in determining where to expend our energy, which conferences we show up. But then when we're at the conference, we just be open to what opportunities present us, right? We go where we think we're going to meet the biggest players that are going to be interested in what we're doing. But then once we land there, we just see what comes to us, right? And then we follow those leads up diligently.
Be social.
So let's see, what else? So in our discussions, we also came away with the sense that there were a few roles that we probably need to we need to say that we need somebody to actually manage these social media challenges, right? So we need somebody looking at Twitter, we need somebody looking at Facebook, LinkedIn, Reddit, all these different social platforms, and managing that outreach and managing that message, coordinating activities. So it feels like we probably have some roles and responsibilities that we'll need to staff for if we're going to be serious about marketing everything that we're going to do. So with the community, having a community manager probably wouldn't be a bad idea. A marketing manager probably wouldn't be a bad idea. Once we staff these roles, we can definitely start putting responsibilities on those roles and have some confidence that they're going to get done in a collaborative and open, transparent way. Ed, do you have more to share? Put you on the spot.
No, thank you, Medha. I just wanted to address part of this conversation with Resonate and Peter, because I know it's been an area of tension and discussion between us. And I wanted to just tease apart, and maybe I misunderstood something earlier that you said, because you brought this up in the context of marketing, and obviously every engagement that becomes, for an example, an investment has marketing appeal as well. So I definitely understand where you're coming from. And so maybe there's ways that we can foster that relationship with Peter and others that is small initially in a marketing kind of way, to show support, to encourage him without a full-blown, major investment kind of approach, at least initially. So crawl, walk, run kind of thing. We're certainly past the crawl stage because the relationship is warmed up. So no, it's helpful to hear that because it's not all or nothing kind of thing is what it. But so anyway, I just want to acknowledge for you, and if Peter happens to be watching, that yeah, we want to encourage this kinds of engagements, and I know and I know you've been frustrated with me about the pace I've been moving on them. So yeah, yeah. It's a much more general problem. The general problem is we're going to get out there. There's going to be a sea of opportunities. I mean, literally, there's going to be thousands and thousands of these, and we got to be able to be decisive about follow-up. We can't follow up on every one of them, and yes, discipline is going to be important, and yes, intuition is going to be important. I mean, it's like in mathematics. There's more theorems than you can count. You got to follow your nose as to which ones are worth your time to prove.
It's email, store and forward.
Yeah, and I view these things in stages. The demand generation, which is the primary topic we were meeting about, and then the fostering of potential partners and leveraging them for market, and then an investment, you know. And so, yeah, we need to get that. And then also there's, you know, figuring out which of these things does the co-op do, which of these things does holdings and others do. And so we have to sort through all that. Awesome. We've got so much opportunity in front of us, and especially, you know, once we demonstrate, you know, many nodes running Casper at better performance than Ethereum and others, we're going to get a flood of opportunities coming too.
The sea analogy, we have to think about navigation, common direction. We have to think about what storms might be on the horizon, what sharks might be in the water. So,
I guess I would just say, you know, follow your nose, but gather enough things to follow that you can do an opportunity cost analysis, right?
Questions?
I still think you should have brought the B word. Budget. Because going to conferences and all that sort of stuff.
Yes, budget. Okay.
And well, I said budget. And
Well, you
came
said
on-
B, and I'm slow. So,
Right.
yeah. So, yeah. I mean, I'll make this appeal to Greg directly as one of the officers of co-op. Marketing needs a budget from the co-op, and you know, because we need to. We mean the marketing folks need to be present at trade shows and you know, PR services, costs, and so forth.
Agreed. Yeah, I mean,
Awesome.
no question. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, there's proposals on Greg's desk. Let's just say that.
Well, no, and one of the reasons I'm bringing it up is not just because of that dialogue, which I'm glad you guys had, but so people know that if there's a conference they want to go to that fits with the marketing goals, and you're willing to sign up to the time to do the blog post and the you know, what I learned, who I met, et cetera, there should be methods for making that possible.
Right.
And that's the other reason for the rubric, so we all know when you come in with an idea how that is going to be evaluated.
Right.
So 5 years from now, we all have the same nose.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah. And I'll just to represent the conversation Greg and I had maybe 3 or so weeks ago. We also want to not go crazy on marketing budget early before we can demonstrate. We've seen lots of projects make the mistake of overhyping too early. But it definitely, you know, just to get our name out there so people know who we are, so we can attract people that have problems that can be solved by scalable blockchains to come to us and foster those relationships, et cetera.
Yeah, so I very much agree with that. But for me, part of this is all about making every action have multiple purposes all at once.
Good.
So you know, when I'm seeking these companies that are going to provide all kinds of visibility and drive people to the platform, the reason I'm doing it is completely self-centered. I want someone on the client side of this telling me, hey, I want to write this kind of contract and your language isn't expressive enough. I have to write this all, you know, mountains of code in order to get this one feature done, right? I want to be saying, hey, why isn't it running at this speed, you know? So all of the pressures that come from having actual clients.
Or just simple questions. How do I write an Oracle?
Exactly. all that stuff. I want the pressure from clients. And so I get a twofer, right? The work that just as with the community hangout that we do every week, the work that we have to do is our marketing effort. It's that simple.
That's great. Yeah. Awesome. Any other questions before we wrap? All right, great.